welcome to my channel. Today I'm doing a whole lot of different things today, so I figured I'd go ahead and do another video. One of the main things I want to do today is I have all these oranges, these mandarin oranges, that I want to can, and then that way there will be something that my son will actually eat. He won't eat fresh fruit. I know that sounds crazy. He has autism, it's sensory issues that he has, but I find that when I can them that it does perfectly where he will be able to eat those. So I'm going to can some mandarin oranges, and I'm also going to be drying some green peppers in a dehydrator. I have not decided what I'm doing with them. I do not want them to go bad, so I am going to dehydrate them. So, but first we're going to work on the onions. So the first thing I am doing, I have my jars that I'm using canning, and these are canning jars, not just any jars. They're made to be able to go into the freezer, as well as going into the sorry, it got shaky there, guys, as well as being able to stand the hot. So you don't want to just use any jar. You want to make sure it's something that's safe and it's made for this. So I am and I put some extra jars in there because I also will be putting my dehydrated peppers into them. And I have some red onion, the last of my red onions that I dehydrated that I need something to put in. So I'm sterilizing those for that as well. So, so for now we are going to start with our oranges. But so the first thing we are going to do, so I'm going to take all of my oranges and I'm going to peel them. Mine, I want to have mine in segments, so they that's easy. I don't have to worry about it. You can do them whole, you can do them in pieces, but I know they say that you want to get as much of the white out as possible, so which is no problem for me because I'm going to be doing them that way. So I'm just going to go through our oranges, pull off as much of that as we can, anything from the center. So I'm just going to continue doing this so I have all my oranges done, and then I will see you when that's all finished. Hey guys, so I figured I'd share this with you. If you take the orange peel off and then you lightly run your fingernail down the outside of it, you find that it's getting most of that off. Now you want to do it real gentle, but you can see the little bit that I have done versus the part that I haven't. So it's just another way to make it a little bit easier for you. Sometimes you don't mind your hands being messy because it definitely sticks to your hands. You don't want to push hard. It's just a gentle. I don't have much nail there, so I'm just running it down there, and it's getting most of that white off for me. So that way, I don't mind taking a little bit of extra seconds to do that. If it gets it so my son will eat it. So I just figured I'd share that with you guys. So, hey guys, so my jars are all now sanitized. I'll give them a minute. And I've got 5 cups of water now on the stove, and I'm going to bring that to a boil, and then I'm going to add a cup of sugar to it, and I'm going to let that cook for 5 minutes at a simmer. And I'm telling you, it smells so good in here between the oranges, and I cut up the peppers. They're sweet bell peppers. There's red and orange, and let me tell you, my hands still smell like them. I have a thing to wash off that gets rid of all the scents and things, the onions and garlic and all that, but they smell so good I just couldn't. So I've got my oranges all here, all ready to go. So I'm just waiting for everything else to get finished. So I'm going to go ahead and I guess I'll go ahead and take my jars out. So I want them to cool enough that I can touch them without burning myself. Okay, so I'm just going to wait for that to boil and I'll add my sugar. I'll see you in just a minute. Okay, so my water's about to boil, so I'm going to go ahead and add that cup of sugar. I'm going to let it simmer for about 5 minutes. I'm going to let it go and let all that sugar break down so it's all mixed in there and in with the water. And I also, I don't think you saw it, but I also, in with the jars, I did sterilize the lids as well. So I'm going to let that simmer for about 5 minutes. I think they're about cool enough for me to go ahead and put my oranges into the jars. And we're going to leave a 1/2 inch at the top. Just going to pack those down a little bit. Need that air space in the top there. And this is really good for keeping me from splashing the fluids and stuff everywhere, but I'm kind of klutzy, so everything goes everywhere. So I am just making it a little bit easier on myself for cleanup in that. My dandy little tool there. And this has measurements on it, on each level, to let you know, so you can make sure and double check your clearances. If you're really good and you eye it, you can tell by the jar itself where you're at with that, but I prefer to just go ahead and use the tool. Got a couple left, and what a shame, I'm just going to have to eat those. I'll be doing 2 jars today of that. Got these Agent Oranges packed in there really good. Now if you want to do your oranges, you can even do it with just water, but it will kind of, it will kind of wash out the taste of it. So I prefer to kind of do mine with a lighter syrup. Some people like it heavier. You're going to do heavy, you're going to of course have more sugar added to yours, but I prefer to do mine in a lighter sugar. I want to have it as naturally sweet as I can without having too much sugar added to that. So I'm just waiting for my 5 minutes, and then we will actually add the water into our nice hot jars. I'll let it cool down a couple minutes first, just because I don't want to put it too hot into the jars. Okay, so now I've got my jars all ready to go. Add in the syrup. And I'm going to use you can use a knife, but I have this to measure, so it's perfect. You want to make sure you get out all the air bubbles from in there. You don't want to have any air pockets. So I'm making sure that I've got them all. And I'm going to just push it down. Make sure I've got my 1/2 inch. Just a little bit more. Yep, perfect. Okay, so next I'm going to take my and clean off. I use a little bit of vinegar just around the edge. I just wet it a little bit, and that's going to get any oil or anything that's on there. If any oils from your hands or things like that get on there, it's going to affect the seal. And again, I'm not going to touch the rubber part of that. Make sure I get the lids on there. And then they're ready to go into our other. So I'm going to prepare that here and get that together. I have to move some things around here. My stave's a little full. So I have everything moved around. So I'm going to take my oranges, and I have this handy little rack. When you put in, I put my cans in, and I've got the water. You want the water to go over top the top part of the thing, usually 1 to 2 inches. So I'm going to have to add a little bit more water to mine. We're going to bring that to a boil, and we're going to let that go for about 15 minutes. Now, if you're at different elevations, it may take a little bit longer, a little bit, usually 10 to 15 to 20 minutes, depending on the elevation. So I have a canning book that I go through and check on mine, but I'm going to be putting mine in for 15 minutes. So after that's all done, we will take it out and let it cool. And make sure we listen for those pops to make sure that they seal, and you always want to check the seals on those. So I'll see you when it's all done with the cooking. Okay guys, so we have the, it's been done canning. I let it sit a little bit. So I'm going to pull out what I have here. I'm going to let it cool off. We've got our jars over here. And I'm going to let them cool off, and as they're cooling, you'll hear them pop. The big thing is you want to make sure that that center piece pops down so that you know that they are sealed. So I have 2 here. I'm going to let them cool off. Once they're done, I'm going to make sure I'm going to label what they are, and I'm going to label the date, today's date on them, and then I will put them in down in my storage area, and they will be good to go. So that's how we do our mandarin oranges. Thanks for tuning in today. I also have one that's uploading a little bit later. I have to finish editing. It'll come out tomorrow, and that is a dumpster diving one. And this one will probably come maybe the next day. I'm probably going to end up hitting some dumpsters today because I do have to do some shopping. I have to go out and get some cat food. So hopefully I find some things that we can post about. But until then, make sure to give me that like, and don't forget to subscribe. I'm finding that only a small percentage of the people that subscribe are actually the ones that watch. So if you subscribe to my channel, then you will actually be able to hit that bell notification, and that'll notify you when I have new videos. So right now it's been just about every day I've had one come out. So thanks again for coming, and we'll see you again, guys. Bye.